Once upon a time, in a village by name Namakostan lived a young orphan by name Elbas Nesni. Elbas was a hard-working young man who used to make his living by running small errands throughout the day for the village people of Namakostan. No one knew from where Elbas came to be, or who gave him that name, but they all liked to engage him. He was a handy guy and could do everything that he got thrown at. And the villagers did throw a lot over to Elbas, so much so that although he started very early in the day and worked till late in the evening, he still had lots left to do. Elbas was a strong lad with exceptional stamina and could work all day long like a workhorse without getting tired. But he was not so clever and also had a weird problem. He could not remember for too long as to why he was doing something and what he was trying to accomplish. This made some of the villagers exploit him by making him work on things that he did not commit to do. It was not uncommon to hear conversations such as, "But you said you will deliver these logs as well over to Sandy's, didn't you, Elbas?" And Elbas would shrug and say, "If you say so, I would have promised," and take on the extra errand. Elbas quickly developed a reputation of being called Silly Elbas Nesni, but he tried to ignore this. He focused on taking up small errands so that he could stay focused and not forget what he was up to. But it was often not the case and he got himself into more work. There were kind souls too that cared for him and tried to help him out, but they were few and far between. Over time, new dwellers came to Namakostan and Elbas's reputation as being silly overtook his ability to do good work. He got more work than he could manage. "How is it that I get to do so much, but I don't get enough in return?" he used to think. But his problem kept him busy and he got increasingly frustrated with his life. On one evening, when Elbas was finishing up work for the day, the village sheriff's cousin, Reganamdeb, who carried an air of authority over the village, calls Elbas for a big errand. "You have to go deep into the forest tomorrow morning, almost to the foot of Waitinatrapo, and get me 100 logs of Ignac wood," says Reganamdeb. "What? No one went so far towards Waitinatrapo hill, it's too dangerous and no one has ever seen an Ignac tree, we only heard stories," shrieked Elbas in shock. "And that's why you should go, and I will pay you a hefty amount, and will give you a brand new cottage to live in. I want to show to my cousin and the whole village that Ignac exists, and I will make furniture out of it," smirked Reganamdeb with a glint of ambition in eyes. "Only why can do it, Elbas." Reganamdeb sounded more authoritative than encouraging. "This is impossible," thought Elbas as he walked back to his home, "and I don't know if I will make it to Waitinatrapo. No one knows the way, and still remember what I should be doing there. But maybe this will help me get to a better life. A lot of money and a new cottage is not a bad offer." As Elbas was lost in his thought, he bumps into the village's oldest living elder, Redem Sulov, perched comfortably on his veranda. Sulov is a kind-hearted man and understood Elbas. He counseled Elbas multiple times when he got into trouble earlier and showed him the right direction. When Elbas explained his new problem to Sulov in despair, Sulov spoke softly, smoking his cigar. "Don't worry, my lad, you got to have your most important work right in front of you. Take this slate, put it around your neck and it will remind you." So saying, Sulov wrote, "Go to Waitinatrapo and get 100 logs of Ignac." "Ah, is it so simple? Why didn't I think of this before?" Elbas thought, scratching his head. "And remember, Waitinatrapo is not an ordinary hill, who knows what you will find there. Don't forget the slate though, keep your objective in front of you. I will also give you a special sword called Sorak. In your path you have. Find a lot of poisonous bushes that are called Noisufnak by the locals. They tend to drain you of your energy when you come in contact with them. Sorak will keep you going and will clear away the Noisufnak." Suddenly Elbas felt energized. He thanked Sulov for the tip and early next morning set out in search of Ignac. Elbas painstakingly went through the deep forest and with support of Sorak and his own incredible stamina made very good progress. Each time he stopped in his track, not knowing what he was doing in the forest, the slate reminded him of his purpose. By noon, Elbas reached the foot of Waitinatrapo hill and started looking around for Ignac. Sulov also described to Elbas as to how to identify an Ignac when he encounters one and the right way to chop it down. "It won't be easy, but you are too strong to give up," echoed the voice of Sulov. "I wonder why I remember everything Sulov says to me. He is so kind," thought Elbas as he moved around the dense forest filled with Noisufnak. As Elbas approached what looked like a very old and dying tree, his eyes fell on a dried piece of wood. It looked like a slate of wood on the bark of the old tree and looked as if attached to the tree. Something about it caught the attention of Elbus, and he picked up the piece of wood, which was clearly a piece of wood but was remarkably strong. Elbus also noticed an inscription that read, "This is the Nesni. If you are holding the Nesni, it means you have worked hard to find it. Go to the top of Huaytinatrapo, find the cave of Toloser and wait for the deity to answer you. You will be rewarded." This looked like a joke of the villagers at first to Elbus. But then he thought, who would come all this way to play a prank risking their lives? And he also remembered the words of Sulov, "Remember, Huaytinatrapo is not an ordinary hill, who knows what you will find there? What could be more difficult than my everyday life, if all it takes is to reach the top, and if it's true that this deity of Toloser exists, then it may change my life." So saying, Elbus erases his original purpose on the slate and writes, "Reach the top of Huaytinatrapo, find Toloser and wait for deity." Munching on his meager meal for the journey, Elbus sets out to conquer Huaytinatrapo. But how do I get there? I wonder if the bark has some more detail. So saying, Elbus looks around for the Nesni, but it is not to be found. Silly me, I should have looked thoroughly when I had the chance. But with his sheer grit and determination, Elbus takes on Huaytinatrapo. The trek is slow and painful and takes all the strength and determination of Elbus. As he paused to catch his breath over a short crevice or a jutting rock, he consulted his slate to understand what he was doing and where he was going. "Keep going up, until you find your Toloser," he kept encouraging himself. After a toil of several hours and almost losing his life falling into the valley of Eknagora, that was adjacent to Huaytinatrapo, Elbus finally makes to the top of the hill and to his jubilation, finds the cave of Toloser appearing between two huge boulders. "Are these the sentries now?" wondered Elbus. "We are the Tibuadfuls and you have to overcome us to enter," boomed the boulders at Elbus. "Okay, what should I do?" replied a wearied Elbus. "Answer 2 questions and we will let you in. 1. Who sent you up? And 2. Who helped you to find?" "Ah, that's easy, I stumbled upon Nesni and came up and Sulov helped me to find it, I guess." The boulders opened up to Elbus to enter into the cave. As Elbus entered the cave that was pitch dark, he saw a soft light dawning at the corner of the cave which transformed magically into a human form. "No one has made it this far in 100 years, Elbus. I am the deity of Toloser, so what is your ask?" "Ask? I don't know," replied Elbus, his silliness taking over. "Remember all the hardships you have gone through, Elbus. What's it for?" The deity tried to help. Elbus referred to his slate and replied with confidence, "To reach the top of Huaytinatrapo, find Toloser and wait for deity." "You silly Elbus, that you have done, but what is your ask?" The deity replied with a hint of frustration. "See, I first came to look for Nesni and hit upon Ecanhc and came here, so maybe I think I want Nesni," replied Elbus with an aha moment on his face. "You silly Elbus Nesni." The deity was angry, but she also understood the real problem of Elbus. "What is your ask, son? I think you should hear all the adventures I had on the way through the forest, and oh boy, now I know why they say, uphill task. This was more difficult than everyday work that I do, and then these 2 boulders, they looked like they would roll over me and..." She calmly replied, "Look, son, there is a reason the villagers call you silly. You forget your purpose, and instead of practicing to overcome your problem, you chose to strengthen it. You always kept busy with small work with small outcomes." Elbus was more confused and looked a bit hurt after all the hard work. "But," continued the deity, "you have great persistence and you have overcome of Toloser," blesses Elbus. "The potion of Huaytirao. Drink this and it will make you a different man. You will not need any more riches than Huaytirao. Trust your strength and keep persisting." So saying, the deity vanished and Elbus wakes up beside the old tree at the bottom of Huaytinatrapo with 2 logs of Nesni. "No one should think I am silly anymore, and now that I am sensible, I should see things completely in a new light." Elbus starts towards Namakostan and lived happily ever after. P.S. Elbus also considered changing his name to Elbus Nesmi, which reads, "I am sensible," in reverse, and so should you read all the odd words above in reverse to get them to make sense to you. Thanks for